Hello, everyone. My name is Sieglinde. I am a formally trained artist-economist, and if the pandemic has gotten you down, I am here to get you back on track. You see, we always have way more choices than we think we have, and especially at a time like this, it is really important to reframe and refocus, not just in our heads, but also by engaging in creative hands-on strategies to uncover those choices and then get them too. So in this brief presentation today, I want to share with you, number one, 3 golden nuggets to make this endless change a little easier on yourself. Number 2, a roadmap to think outside the box to get what you want. And number 3, I'm going to give you a foolproof formula to always come out on top. You see, we won't be going back to same old anytime soon, maybe not ever. So why not make tomorrow better than what was before? Are you ready? Let's dive in, and I'm going to share my screen with you. So that happened. Now what else is possible? As I mentioned, my name is Sieglinde, a formally trained artist-economist, and I provide visual and non-visual solutions for a better tomorrow. I like to call my process a jumpstart your new reality, a hands-on approach for what's next. This title actually stems to a chapter I wrote in this book, Jumpstart Your Blank, Volume 2. It's an anthology. And my chapter is titled Jumpstart Your New Reality. So when I wrote this in the summer of 2019, nobody knew what that even meant, jumpstart your new reality. And of course, right now, it is the buzzword of the day, and we're all trying to figure out what that new reality really is. Well, I'm here to tell you that even though we cannot control what's going on out there, we can control in a big part what that new reality will be for us. So my goal in this very brief presentation is that if you're feeling anything like the image in the top left corner, lost, confused, unsure, unclear, or perplexed, and even if you feel this way multiple times a day and you have for 3 months, it's okay. I have my freak out moments too. In any case, I want to get you from those negative feelings to being all fired up again about your life and the possibilities that are in front of you, because there are many more possibilities than you think, and they don't all involve 6 feet apart, washing your hands and wearing masks wherever you go. All right, let's see here. You are in the right place if, I already mentioned it, you accept that we won't be going back to same old anytime soon, and maybe not ever. And that's okay, because maybe what was there before wasn't that great after all, and we can now do something different. I also want to alert you here that holding on to what was before or trying to go back to it may actually complicate rather than facilitate moving forward. Number 2, you understand that very few things are certain right now. And yeah, decisions based on fear, driven by fear, are rarely the right solutions in the long run. Again, it's okay that you are fearful to some degree, but let's become self-aware and make sure that those are not the decisions that drive us. No temporary solution band-aids. We want to go for the long run, positivity and success in the long run. Number 3, you realize that change in the way we live and work is inevitable. Oh my God, it's unfolding around us all the time. And with so much uncertainty and conflicting information, you're just not sure how to go about it. That's okay. I'm going to give you the power back in your hands. And number 4, you're committed to making tomorrow better than what was before, because I guarantee you, good things will come out of this. And I firmly believe it, and I invite you to hold on to that belief as well. So here's what you will gain by hanging out with me today in this brief presentation. Number 1, I already said it, and it's worth repeating again. You always have way more options and choices than you think you have. You just need to know where to look for them and then how to get them too. Number 2, the way to be resilient right now is to remain flexible at all times. Number 3, you cannot control what's happening out there, but you can control how you respond to it. I know this is a cliche, you've heard it a million times before, but right now it is more important than ever, and I will share with you exactly what to focus on. And number 4, change is unsettling. There's no ifs or buts about it, but it becomes easier when you take charge and you direct it. Okay, let's do it. Oh, and I do encourage you to stay until the end because I have a bonus strategy for you that gets you in the driver's seat of your life today. Because, as Oprah Winfrey said, you want to be in the driver's seat of your life because if you are not, life will drive you. And I don't know about you, but in the last couple of months, we've definitely been put in a position where life drives us instead of the other way around. And it's time to flip that around. Okay, you with me? Let's go. So what's my story and why would you even remotely pay attention to what I have to say? Well, as I mentioned before, I'm a formally trained artist-economist with a master's in economics and a master's in fine art. And it is this holistic combination of left brain, right brain thinking and taking the best of both worlds that has built 25 years of value, content, and strategies. And I have never been more clear in my life than now is the time to combine that in my treasure chest toolbox and share it with all of you, because it will not only benefit me, but you as well. My own story is my biggest masterpiece. Yeah, and you thought it was art, because I moved from Europe to the US as a very insecure newlywed with a very conservative master's in economic science degree. And then I transformed myself into an internationally exhibiting and award-winning artist. And then the academic in me insisted on getting a master in fine arts on top with 2 kids in tow. And after I obtained that master's degree, I just fully unleashed myself in the entrepreneur world with all my creativity and intellectual skills that I could possibly share with the rest of you. Also, one of my mantras as I've gone through all these transformations, first of all, as an immigrant into the US, then from an economist to an artist, then from like a newlywed to a single mom, and then into the entrepreneurship. You know what? Reinventing yourself is a privilege as long as we're focused on change for the better. Let's keep that in the back of our mind, shall we? Oh, and then very quickly, I'm not going to go in depth in any of this, but the benefit of my training and my background at a time like this is, and especially pay attention to the bottom lines here, because that's sort of really what I'm getting at. But as an economist, I am really unfazed at the current data and especially the model speculations that both official and unofficial sources keep throwing out at us in the media. Because you know what? The observer position is the power position. Be very careful what you attach your daily emotional well-being to, because first of all, the headlines are clickbaits, the reports are not always objective, and speculation models are just that, speculations, and they're only worth as much as the quality of the data that are being put into it. And as I'm sure you've discovered in the past 3 months, is that the data that's true today is no longer the data that's true tomorrow, is definitely not the data that's true next week. So bear that in mind. Things are changing very fast still. So be aware what you attach your emotional well-being to. And I invite you to take a step back and take the observer position. Then as an artist and a creative, I have in-depth training and a ton of practice in sitting with uncertainty, problem solving, and finding creative, innovative solutions. In other words, thinking outside the box has become a way of life for me. I know that there's people who think, and some artists even experience the joy and the romantic feeling around painting and drawing, and it's all rosy and beautiful, but I have not experienced that in my field. So, and then number 3, as a master of transformation and reinventing myself, I mentioned before, I have a treasure chest of proven strategies to successfully navigate change and come out on top. I may be more comfortable with change than most of you, but you know what? I am no better or I am no different from you. So if I can do it, so can you. And especially if someone gives you the tools of the trade, right? Okay, so let's set the stage in the most productive way to move forward and come out on top. Here are your 3 golden nuggets to make change easier on yourself. Number 1, times of uncertainty hold an immense freedom to do things differently. So let me ask you, which one will you focus on? The uncertainty or the freedom? I recommend you focus on the freedom because it will get you to success and happiness faster. Number 2, times of transition open the door to new choices and possibilities for your future. Can you keep an open mind so that you can see and discover and embrace these new choices and possibilities instead of walking right past them? And to illustrate this, I actually wanted to share with you a quote by Reid Hoffman, who's a co-founder of LinkedIn. And he says, ironically, in a changing world, which we are definitely in, playing it safe is one of the riskiest things you can do. Let's keep that in mind as we go through all the other steps. And then number 3, I said it before, change is unsettling, no ifs or buts about it, but it gets easier when you take charge and you direct it. So let me ask you, can you commit to a hands-on approach to make that happen? If yes, then we're going to dive right in. So, jumpstart your new reality. It is all about your choice and not being chosen for. 7 steps to what's next. This is my signature blueprint roadmap to getting what you want by thinking outside the box. Here's your mapped out strategy, a quick overview of the 7 steps. If anybody is curious what it relates to with something that's already out there in the market, I would say it is loosely related to design thinking as it is promoted by IDEO and the Stanford D School. However, the biggest difference between the design thinking that is promoted by them and my process is that mine starts within, or starts internally and then moves out, where they start externally and then have this reiteration process. And I have a reiteration process too, but the starting point is different. So I don't have time in this brief presentation to go in depth into each step. So I'm going to focus mostly on the why each step matters. So number 1, pause and go in. Stop pushing, forcing, prodding, reacting, whatever you do to the outside world and circumstances you cannot control. Stop, close the door to the outside world and just go in. Just for a moment, you need to take a breather. Why? Because number 1, when you keep reacting, you do not allow the creative, innovative, problem-solving part of your brain to kick into gear and come up with creative, innovative solutions because you're in this stress mode all the time, right? So you got to go in and take a moment to breathe. Also, this is about you. This is not about the external world. This is also not about a new reality that somebody else chooses for you. This is about what you want for you as your new reality. And you can't be creative when you worry about what other people will think. Number 2, explore the core. Why do you want that new reality? And exactly what is it that you want in it? Why is this important? Well, first of all, clarity, I will read these things like clarity, motivation, reframe, and refocus. What do I mean by that? So what do we want right now? I think at a time like this, we're all a little bit uneasy about the economy and our finances. So we want more money, right? Okay, so well, believe it or not, wanting more money is not enough of a motivation to actually sustain you through challenging changes in a productive way. So we need a different motivation. So why do we want more money? Oh, to pay our bills. Okay, good one. Okay, why do we want to pay our bills? Well, because we don't want to lose our house. Why do we not want to lose our house? Well, we live in a really great neighborhood and the kids love to play with the neighborhood kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You see how the motivation to make more money all of a sudden became way more personable and way more emotional instead of just a transactional, I need to pay the bills type thing. Well, that personal motivation, that emotional motivation is much stronger than any transactional motivation. So we want to make sure that we have the right motivation here. Also, that way we become very clear on what we want, because if we cannot find the right motivation, why would we bother? And in that sense, we're sort of reframing, refocusing our goal a little bit so that we get the farthest, the fastest. Number 3, keep an open mind and be surprised. This is the most pleasant, the most fun step of all, and it is the brain dump. Now, how do you brainstorm like a pro? There are so many ways to brainstorm, some formal, some informal. I believe there's even software out there right now to help you brainstorm. And we're not going to go into the gist of any of these, but there's a couple of things I want to point out here. First of all, when you brainstorm, always be curious and come from a place of possibility, never limitation, lack, or fear. Number 2, always approach it with a sense of play. Have fun with it and no judgment. I should have put this in bold red. Why? Because when you brainstorm, the really juicy stuff, the really innovative, creative solutions cannot come out of your mind as long as there's other stuff in there. So you want to dump everything out. The dumbest, the most idiotic, the most, I don't know, surrealistic, whatever you want. Anything goes, just dump it out so that it is cleaned out of your head without judging it. You can always delete it later, but it needs to come out so that when you have nothing left and no more ideas come, that's when the power part of your brain kicks into gear, and that's when the real solutions come out. Number 4, ouch, embrace the chaos. You know what? Nobody likes the chaos, but it's an inherent part of change and transition, and it is okay. I will give you a quick example so that you will be very clear on what I mean by this. Have you ever gone to a kitchen remodel? Yes? Okay, great. So you've went to the store, you chose your cabinets, you worked with a designer, you're all geared up, you know, and they start the work. So all of a sudden, your old kitchen starts piling up as debris on the driveway. And you come inside where your kitchen used to be, and it's just dust and chaos. Now, you don't know what's coming. The only thing you know is that it will never be the old way again because you can't put that old kitchen back. Well, that's what I mean with inherent chaos. You know good stuff is coming, but you get to get rid of the old first before you can move forward with the new. However, some chaos can be avoided. Let's box up as much chaos as we can, right? And that is by taking step 5 to heart. And here I want to tell you, go slow and deliberate. If you can wait before you take action. Familiarize, I can't talk anymore. Familiarize yourself with the new reality you're after. For instance, say it is a new job. Well, if this is a new job, would you have to go into work or would you be working from home? What time would you have to get up? What are your responsibilities? What would your day look like? What would your weekend look like? With the remuneration, what would you do with the money? If you do have to go to the workplace, what would your commute look like? How early do you have to get up? What would you do with your kids, etc., etc., etc. This would also be the time to edit, and if you want, test it out with friends and family and other trusted voices in the outside world so they can support you in moving forward. And number 3, and maybe this is the biggest one of all, tackle your success killers first before you move on. Fear, especially fear of failure, self-doubt, and lack of commitment are the biggest success killers. So if you feel that these are lingering around in step 5, then find the solutions on how to tackle these first before you move on. Because when you move on to step 6, we're ready to commit and execute. Action. Because I did say we were going to do hands-on, right? So this is where a lot of people come to a screeching halt and they don't do anything with all the great prep work they just done. But you know what? As the author of The Little Prince said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So this is where you become your own project manager extraordinaire and you map out all the steps to get to where you want to go. A little bit of a Steve Jobs inspiration here. Steve Jobs said, decide on what you want to create and then reverse engineer on how to get there. Well, the same goes for goal setting. So work from your goal instead of towards a goal is a much faster or a much more guaranteed recipe for success. So set your goal and then reverse engineer what you need to do today to move closer to your goal. and then what you need to do tomorrow to move closer to the goal, but always work from the goal versus towards the goal. It's a totally different mindset. And then number 7, of course, evaluate along the way to make sure that you're still headed for that goal, even if you have to be flexible on how to get there along the way, that's okay. And then celebrate not just the end result, but every little victory on the way, even if it is just you sitting here right now in this presentation with me and soaking it all up. These little celebrations along the way, they matter, and take them to heart and congratulate yourself and pat yourself on the back for every move forward that you make, especially in a time like this, and especially when change is challenging. Okay, that was my quick 7 steps, just an overview, just a really, really quick overview and a brief why they matter. And I do have live workshops about once a month where we go in depth into each of these steps, and I will tell you a little bit more about those in a second. So I also promised you the key formula to always come out on top. So here it is. Focus, razor sharp focus on where you want to go. Remember, we talked about exploring the core and the why we are going for this. That's because clarity is power. So we want to have that clarity so we can have razor sharp focus, but then also the flexibility, a very open flexibility on how to get there. Why? Because the world outside of the external world and the external circumstances are changing so fast right now that you can't make solid decisions based on quicksand. So you have to remain flexible on how you're going to get to that goal, but just keep that goal in mind. And the two combined will create a resiliency, and that resiliency will make sure that your success is inevitable. So razor sharp focus, stay flexible on how to get there, and that resiliency is what's going to move you forward into the future with the success and the life and the business that you want. Okay, we're trying to wrap this up here. So how can I support you, and what would working with me look like? As I already mentioned, once a month, I hold a 2-hour group workshop intensive going in depth on the 7 steps. And I do it with you and with the group, and we will go in depth so you understand each step. I showed this book earlier, Jumpstart Your Blank Volume 2. It is available on Amazon. It's an anthology. It's about a dozen entrepreneurs who share their secret sauce. You can buy it there. It's about, let me see here, $16.95. I don't get any royalties for it, so it doesn't matter to me if you buy it or not. I can tell you that if you sign up for a group workshop, I can get you this chapter for free. And then you can also have 2-hour minimum private brainstorm sessions with me where you say, okay, I don't want this entire 7-step, I don't want to work through this entire 7-step system with you, Sieglinde. I think I've got a good grasp on it on my own, but there are certain things where I could really use you as a soundboard, or I really want to go more in depth with you, and then we can make that work too. Sounds like fun, because that would be just one-on-one. Here's what you will get when you decide to work with me. 1, proven strategies to kick that innovative part of your brain in high gear and leave negative thinking behind instantly. 2, creative techniques that are used by innovative companies all over the globe to unlock choices and solutions you didn't even think possible. As I said before, you always have made way more choices than you think you have. You just need to know where to find them and how to get them. Number 3, a guided action plan to set things in motion, because talk without action gets us nowhere. And we're about done sitting on the couch waiting this out, right? And then, of course, my hands-on support along the way. And 5, really a renewed sense of peace and power as you take charge of your destiny versus waiting to react as the world decides your destiny for you. And again, I know not everything is in our control, but if we do take control of the things we can control, just imagine the possibilities. And remember, if you say from the start, this isn't possible, or this is not happening, or I can't do that, If you judge or dismiss anything right from the start, you have already lost before you have even begun. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me, but I definitely don't want that for you either. So here we are at the end of my brief presentation. Thank you so much. If you have questions, please contact me via sieglindevandamme.com, and I will also put this link in the notes below. And the bonus strategy, the bonus PDF, has proven me so well. For one thing, I will tell you the exact steps in this bonus strategy that you can download for free at the link below at Sieglinde 2020 bonus strategy. I will also put this in the link below. I use this exact strategy to buy my house in a red hot Silicon Valley real estate market within 30 days. And it was exactly what I wanted. I only waited one offer in my entire search and I got it. Exactly what I wanted. So that is the bonus PDF. I hope you enjoy it. So if you do want to stay up to date on the live monthly workshops, I can share with you that if you download the bonus strategy, I will automatically enter you in a database that will alert you of the next workshop coming up. Okay? But please, you don't have to wait for the live workshop. I'd be happy to hear from you. Please contact me via my website, sieglindevandamme.com. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much. Be well. Bye.